best friend took things in character so personally that he stopped talking to me. Wow. Okay, I want to read this one. Holy bajolies. All right. My best friend joined our group and decided to take things very personally. I've known him 12 years. He's a great guy. For some reason, him playing D&D for the first time made him into a total prick. He was in his late 20s and his character was a teenage girl. I'll call her Maxine. This guy's a giant neckbeard weeb, isn't he? I can tell already. Maxine was a total asshole character. He played her incredibly aggressive and hostile, frequently telling us to F off, attack our characters physically, and would take any joke against her as a personal slight on himself as a player. He'd make her constantly go off on her own. Yes, it is a bad start already. That is right. Thank you, chat. Brood in the corner, have hissy fits, and not participate if he felt slighted. It dragged us down and kept things at an incredibly slow pace as we consistently had to go babysit her. Felt like she liked the attention, so we stopped feeding it. Eventually, we realized it shouldn't be up to us to ensure he participated. That is true. That is very true. Don't make characters that just don't want to be there. If they don't want to be there, make a new character that wants to be there. If I ever called on him, he'd say the dreaded, "It's what she would do." I said that's no justification for being an asshole. Very true. One major example I can think of for his awful behavior was when we decided to go shopping. I played a gunslinger type and I went ahead first to go buy bullets. Maxine decided to run ahead and attack my character with a weapon as she ran past me and into the shop. He then argued that I'd have no idea it was her and I wouldn't know where she was, even though we decided to go to the particular shop. I didn't argue. Then, once I got into the shop, I spot Maxine hiding. She then confronts me in the shop and shouts and berates me, etc. I buy what I need to buy and try to leave. She then tries and fails to hit me 3 separate times with a frying pan on the way out of the shop. I dodge each hit and could tell he was frustrated. He was infuriated. By this point, I'm fed up of Maxine and I'm fed up of the guy playing her, so I pistol whipped her. Nat 20, I leave Maxine unconscious in the dirt outside of the shop. He then proceeds not to talk to me IRL for a solid week. He says I abandoned her in the streets. He actually fell out with me as my best friend because of what happened in a D&D session, which he started, by the way. It generally took months for me to get through to him that this is a game and he needs to stop taking it so personally. He eventually calmed down and doesn't play D&D at all now. He admitted his depression was taking its toll on him and he uses it as a vehicle for all his negative feelings. We get on great now, but it was touch and go for 3 years that we played that campaign. Yeah, this exactly. Your DM just allows this shit? Don't allow it. What is happening? Like, if I'm in an adventuring party and someone is playing I don't want to be here kind of games, my character would vote to just not trust my life with adventuring. Exactly. Look, I've had it happen because it happens when you get people that are first kind of coming into D&D and they want to explore that kind of brooding sort of angsty sort of character, and they're very reluctant to be there. They don't want to help. They go and sit off in the corner and they do all this other like stuff, and it's like if you say something to them the wrong way, they get very like upset with the character thing, and it's what my character would do is a very bad excuse. A lot of people don't know any better, and so it's okay to kind of tell them, hey dude or whoever, like, your character kind of, if it feels like they don't really want to be involved in the campaign, they don't really want to go on the adventures, they don't really want to help the party, they don't really want to do anything, it's like you should either think about maybe having your character come around and them wanting to be there, or wanting to, like, you know, help a certain person in the party maybe, and they will help everybody else by happenstance, or roll a new character, because if they don't want to be here, they wouldn't be. As they say, be careful what you wish for. A player invited one of his friends to join us in our Tuesday game, and this player took advantage of our DM's generous 1 free item per player gift. New guy chooses a ring of 3 wishes. Red flags! Okay. The DM allowed it, but stated the ring appeared to have 2 of the wishes consumed already. Still has a wish. Still has 1 wish. Alright. New guy argued a bit before saying, with a wide grin, okay, I wish for permanent access to the wish spell. It doesn't require a spell slot when used, nor will it apply any of its negative effects on me. DM just sighed and responded, alright, fair, but you can only use the spell once a day within reason. Here we go. Remember, you're still a low level player and it's still a max level spell. Free spell slot or not, blame the gods. Cue the new guy attempting wishes like, number 1, no woman can resist my charms. What is going on, dude? Number 2, I have a pocket dimension in my bag where I have millions of platinum. Number 3, I am now max level and considered a god amongst men. DM responded with a sort of monkey's paw approach, which I love. I love that the DM is like, yeah, okay, yeah, alright, yeah, okay. Like accepting this thing and the player thinking like, oh, I've gotten away with like absolute atrocities. And then the DM's like, well, now you see. Number 1. As you walk through the town, you're accosted by 12 elderly women. Before you know it, all your trinkets are missing. In place of them, you find a note that reads, thank you, dearie. Sincerely, the coalition of hags. They stole all of his charms. Get it? Number 2. Okay, the dimension exists in your bag. He never said he could take anything out of the dimension. There was no opening to the dimension. It just exists there. All right, number 3. This is the now I'm now max level and considered god amongst men. Okay. You find a temple that has seemingly been built overnight. Your face adorns the wall and windows. As you approach, robed men bow to you, chanting, all hail, max level. His name is max level. It's so good, dude. It's so freaking good. There are more examples, but these are my favorite. Eventually, push comes to shove, and he tries to wish the big bad evil guy dead. The DM tells him that the wish won't work because we have no idea who big bad evil guy is. Finally, the player just says, fuck it. I wish for the source of my problems to be erased from my existence. DM smiles. Everyone make a perception check. Except you, new guy. You suddenly wonder why you're standing in this particular area. In front of you, laying in the street, you find a ring. You'll notice that this ring is a ring of 3 wishes. Unfortunately, they have all been consumed. No. It's just he just got rid of the ring. The ring is gone. He doesn't have the power to do it anymore. So I think that's a great way to do it. Like, he didn't kill him, he didn't punish him, he didn't like make him roll a new character. He just got rid of the ring. Just got rid of the ability to do it. That's all he needed to do. But I love that the DM played with him so hard as freaking absolute gold, as actual gold. This is right, you read the wish spell. It's not even that. It's not even the wish spell, right? Like, it's like, if he was to use them within reason, I think this DM probably would have been like, yeah, okay, we'll figure it out, we'll get it to work, right? But like, when he just, you know, wants to like get to max level, have all the platinum, women can't resist him for whatever reason, he wants that in the game. Like, if he was to do it for stuff like, say, oh, we have to get from like the forest to the next town and we don't have any resources and like we know bandits are going to try and assault us on the road, he's like, I wish that we get to the next town safely in full health. DM probably would have been like, yep, that's fine, and would have just let him do it, right? Like, he probably would have just let him do it. It's when you try and be a dick about it that the DM gets to go like, oh yeah, okay, let's deal with this. Yes, look at this. That is a god tier DM. Absolutely phenomenal, dude. Hi there, I discovered this sub a few days ago, and after reading some of the stories shared here, I was reminded of my own mild horror story. I hope you enjoy. My first exposure to ttrpg games was in high school, when one of my friends decided to introduce our small group to the concept. Let me introduce you to them. These are all fake names derived from our characters. Okay, good, perfect. Harry, DM of our horror story. He enjoys creating characters that would be frowned upon here. A lot of those guys, furries or sexualized characters. Thankfully, he doesn't force that onto our own characters. Sean, the mostly forever DM. He is the most creative regarding lore and his characters, and he likes to create characters with flaws that would put the party at risk. He is aware of the risk, however, and always makes sure to minimize the problematic attitude of his character. Miles, the rules lawyer. He is the one who introduced us to TTRPGs in the first place, and he stated, and as stated above, make sure we all follow the rules. This can be a bit annoying at times, but there are no real problems. Usually, Blue, a mostly absent player. He is the one who lives the furthest away and doesn't often have the time to roleplay with us. He has a habit of creating edgy characters, though it's never to the point where it's absurdity and is often done right. Okay, and me, your average guy. I enjoy roleplaying aspect more than the combat aspect, so I tend to space out a bit sometimes. When Miles first introduced us to TTRPGs, we followed Pathfinder's world and rules. However, we quickly adapted the first few sessions into a completely homebrew world. And after about a year or two of playing regularly, college happened and we couldn't make it out to our regular sessions. The game was moved to Discord, and to this day, this is still the place where we mostly continue our story. Over the years, we tried to branch out of this world, and we tried our hands at different, but still homebrew worlds, and now a homebrew set of rules as well. This trend is what started the world in which our horror story takes place. The setting. The story takes place in a Japanese-style medieval fantasy world. Our characters were all orphans taken in by a powerful lord of the region, raised and trained as his children. The basic plot was that strangers from another land tried to invade our land and attack us, and we basically had to run around and defeat groups of them as we found them. There were 5 of us. As the rules were homebrew, we didn't really have classes and only defined our roles through our stats, but I'll do my best to choose classes closest to our characters for reading comprehension. Miles played a female fighter, Sean played a female paladin, Blue had a male druid, and I was a female cleric. I know, we're a bunch of weebs. Nice, at least he recognizes the weebs. Alright. However, I said 5 characters. I present to you Harry's character and one of the problem DMPCs, the female barbarian. At first, there weren't a lot of problems. We did what we were asked to do, we won some battles, we fled others, and everything went fine. One day, however, we met one of these strangers in the forest, and they had daggers that could poison us. We fought as we could, and Miles' fighter ended up getting poisoned. As we finished the battle, we tried to loot the bodies, but we couldn't find the antidote. Bad rolls, sadly. Harry expected us to have something to combat the poison, but we didn't after the battle. Suddenly, DMPC found the group. They weren't there before, and somehow had the antidote, and killed Fighter before it was too late. At this point, I should mention that none of us enjoy killing others' characters. It usually happens during a meaningful role-playing moment narrated by the player themselves, or with their approval during combat. We were all fine losing characters, by the way, as long as it was reasonable, which I think is the same for me and our groups. I think people are, okay with their character deaths if it makes sense, if there's just nothing that we can do about it. But keep in mind that Harry was one of the least comfortable with killing other characters, which was probably the reason why he pulled this antidote without trying to roll for himself. Okay. Anyways, we moved on. A few days later, we met another invader and tried fighting it. The DM described him as seeming a lot stronger than other ones you've encountered before, so we were curious about the battle. However, thanks to the streak of lucky rolls and several nat 20s, awesome, we were able to overwhelm the guy pretty easily. Harry was silent for a moment, and another guy spawned out of nowhere and took the DM PC hostage without rolls. We asked him why out of character, and he just responded with, I didn't think you would beat him, you were supposed to get captured. So basically, we were forced into submission, else the DMPC would be killed. We were all raised as siblings, so our characters didn't want to take any risk. Yeah. Our characters were then taken into prison, prison-like camp, and we couldn't do anything to get out. But suddenly, people from an ally faction launched an attack into the camp, and we were able to be freed. However, this is where Sean's character's flaw came into play. His character was too bold and too confrontational, and instead of fleeing like the rest of us, challenged the leader of the camp to a one-on-one duel. This would have been a quick defeat. Instead, the roles somehow ended up being Nat 20 and Nat 1 in the leader's favor. Sean's character was completely disfigured and on the brink of death, but as I said, Harry hated to kill characters, so he had the ally faction take her to their base and bringing the rest of the party along, and sent her to the Shrine Maiden to get cured. However, she was so badly injured that there was only one option, imbuing her with Kitsune's spirit, which turned her character into a furry. Why? Why though? Why? Without Sean's consent. We all asked Harry, both in and out of character, if there was no other option, no other solutions. The NPC said there was nothing else they could have done, and Harry simply replied, I wanted to make her a furry. At least he was honest, right? At least he was honest about it. Yes. Okay. Sean barely played after that because it was the complete opposite of what he wanted his character's growth to be, and the party soon followed suit. As a final note, we're a group of friends for 7 years now and still going strong. Despite this story, we still enjoy creating our stories together. We all have flaws in our roleplay abilities, and even though what I just said might paint Harry as a bad DM, he's overall pretty fine. Yeah, that's fine. Like, he's just like, I want to make her a furry. Oh my god, dude. Yeah, that was pretty funny. I've had this happen to me before more than once, and it made me quit every time. It always ends up being some weird power trip by the DM where the consequences are either intentionally malice or poorly thought out by the DM. One scenario came to mind, high-level Spelljammer campaign that saw us drawing from the deck of many things. I drew twice. First time forced my character to be lawful good worshipper of Palor. Second saw me hunted by an unkillable ghost. Now being lawful good, I told the DM I start running to the largest temple in Palor, to Palor in the city. Now my PC is trapped there forever because DM refuses to have the level 20 cleric that runs the place do anything about it. Yeah, okay. So I recently started a 5e campaign with some longtime friends. Now to preface, we all have some dark and often degenerating sense of humor. Okay. This is a Spelljammer campaign that I had done a metric ton of research for in order to let my players jump between multiple campaign settings they had read about in the past. I planned the campaign as a treasure hunt in space where another group of Spelljammers would be racing them towards treasure. Okay, that's kind of a cool preface. Alright. So here is where I messed up. One of our players is a conspiracy theory junkie. Oh god. I made a one-off joke about there being a bank at one of the Astral Sea locations they visited. When they were asked the name of the bank, I said it was Rothschild and Sons, mostly to get the conspiracy bro worked up. However, they decided to rob it instead of just letting it go. Now, 9 sessions later, they are caught in the middle of a 3-way war between the Elven Imperial Navy, a resurgent goblinoid empire, and the Rothschild Bank that has been forced to make more and more insane efforts to make them pay for robbing the bank after the shenanigans. Their way out of everything. Oh my god. It's freaking amazing. Okay, I kind of want to let the bank disappear, but they love them as the bad guy. I would too, that sounds like a great idea. I've described them as being a force that was originally started with the best of intentions, bringing law and order as well as jobs, trade to remote wild space locations, and has slowly gotten corrupted by their power and influence to the point where they are now a tyrannical and degenerate force in the multiverse. I would have just swept them under the rug as a one-off joke at the expense of my conspiracy bro player, but the players love it. They consistently praise my morally grey universe where there are no easily defined good guys, and how I worked what we thought was a joke into a relatable villain. I feel ridiculous with it, but I don't know how to detach them from the story at this point, especially after a character decided he liked them so much as a villain, he worked them into his backstory. What do I do? Should I keep this one-off joke as a villain? Yes, it's so good. Please keep it. It's so good and I love it, and it's so freaking good. It's absolutely amazing. It is is such a good idea. That is an amazing... It's like, oh yeah, this global conglomerate superpower that is like that like runs part of the freaking universe, and it's just like started as a random joke. Actually, so good. That's the kind of shit people spend years coming up with, and this fucker has to fall into his lap by accident. Exactly, dude. This is my second experience playing D&D, which ended very quickly and very sadly. My first experience was trying to run a campaign as a DM among my friends, which also ended very quickly and very sadly due to family trauma, but that's a separate story. So, one of the players from that failed campaign wanted to run the campaign himself, but in a smaller circle of friends, and what happened? I will tell you now. My friend and DM, his girlfriend, wizard, another friend, cleric, me, warrior. Okay, first of all, I'll give you a little backstory of my character, and it's important to the plot. I decided not to be very original and created a warrior character, but he was a tiefling, came from a family that was famous for their paladins, who were fanatically devoted to the local good deity. But my character was not accepted as a paladin because he was born a tiefling. Anyway, my character's goal, as I conceived it, would be to follow the teachings of this goddess to prove himself worthy of becoming a paladin. Okay, so he's like a warrior that's going to become a paladin. All right. Beginning of the company was supposed to be standard, all of us meeting in a tavern. I think that's supposed to be campaign, but anyway. My character was sitting quietly in the tavern drinking beer when Cleric entered the tavern. Cleric, have the warrior roll the dice. Laughter. DM, roll the dice for Constitution. Me passing the check. DM, nothing happens, but you notice an obscure hunched figure in a hoodie approaching a bar near you. Can I get a good look at him? Cleric, have him roll a dice. DM, roll the dice for Intelligence and Constitution. Me, I roll the dice. DM, you don't know what the creature is, but it remotely reminds you of a mushroom. The wizard joins us, and we have a few words with her. Which are once again interrupted by the cleric's request to roll the Constitution check. It should be noted that the wizard was not an easy one. She was one of those whose favorite spell was Fist, and she walked everywhere with a staff on the weight, more like a barbell. Okay. So, after finishing her dialogue with me, the wizard struck her staff barbell into the door, to which the cleric reacted. Cleric, repent. Wizard, what? Cleric, repent. Wizard, nah, I'm leaving this asylum. After that, the cleric decided to attack the wizard with his whip. Before that, there was a small argument between the DM and the cleric about whether the super unusual whip should do stabbing or crushing damage. Okay. I, who sensed that the company was going the wrong way, intercepted his arm and prevented him from striking, then also blocked the wizard's attack on the cleric to prevent a fight. In the end, she left the madhouse. The cleric shouted, "How dare you raise your hand against a holy man," and announced that he was releasing a cloud of spores. DM again asked me to take a Constitution check, which I passed, but a couple of visitors to the place who had fallen under his control did not. I should say that by this point the wizard had already left the room where we were playing. I had to admit that I did my part too, since my character's name was funny and contrasted with his serious nature, so she just assumed we had decided to turn the standard D&D company into a circus. Yeah, that kind of makes sense. Everyone's kind of having fun and being a bit weird and being a bit silly. You know, it's a good assumption. When I see what's going on in the tavern, namely that the unidentified creature first attacks one customer without warning and then takes control of a couple more, I decided to get as far away from the creature as possible and fire a crossbow bolt at it. Villagers under the cleric's control began approaching him and give him money. Next was the cleric's move. He started telling the DM that I shouldn't have attacked him at all because in these lands the core belief is centered around people worshipping him, and that I shouldn't have attacked him at all knowing that. And no, I didn't know these facts before the game started. My character wasn't from these lands, and I don't think he had heard of it. Okay. Yeah, this homebrew is, I don't know, it's a bit strange, but that's okay. The DM asked me to make a history check, which I didn't pass, although I think if I'm claiming my character didn't know it, I shouldn't have made a check, but I might be wrong. Yeah, no, that makes sense. If your character doesn't know it, they just don't know it. It's perfectly fine. So the fight continued. The cleric again wanted me to roll dice for a constitution check, to which I countered that I had moved a considerable distance away from his spore cloud and I shouldn't have made the check, but the DM told me to roll the dice anyway, just with advantage. And that's when I realized that every time I rolled the constitution check, the cleric was trying to bend my character to his will. This isn't a cleric, right? It ain't a cleric no more. This is an evil wizard that's trying to take mind control of you, right? To say that I didn't like the prospect of having my character subjugated by another player is putting it mildly. I voiced my displeasure outside of the character to the DM, to which the cleric replied that it wasn't really mind control. Yeah, bullshit. Because people under the influence of his spores themselves wanted to honor him, and the fact that they started carrying their money to him of their own free will, that's not free will if you're infecting them with spores that make you do things. It's not free will. It's bullshit. To this I countered, if my character suddenly lost faith in his deity and started honoring the cleric's character, it would completely kill my whole idea of wanting him to become a paladin. The cleric suggested that I become a paladin who would worship him. You're not a god, you're a cleric. You worship a god. That's not how clerics work. Okay, I'll omit unnecessary details, but DM tried to keep our company by splitting us up for a while. The wizard and I went shopping, while the cleric went to the temple, where he uses spores to not subdue a small crowd. Yeah, it's mind control. This is all mind control. It's bullshit. So we had to guard the trade caravan as a request. Small detail, the cleric wanted to take a couple of his minions with him, but the DM didn't allow it. Finally, the DM didn't allow the cleric to do something. Finally. Fucking hell. Apparently because the wizard started looking at the exit again. Yeah, no shit. The only girl in the game is going to leave? Crap. We better do something about that. It ended when I tried to talk to the cleric while traveling and convince him not to brainwash my character with his spores. He refused and said he would keep trying to convert my character, and that I didn't realize we'd get a lot of bonuses if he did. We? What's this we bullshit? Kind of by design, if we were brainwashed with spores, we would have some bonuses in the game, but the argument is that it was more important to me, my character's story, than increasing a couple of numbers on my character sheet didn't convince him. Yeah, during this argument, the wizard left us again, which was the end of our D&D campaign. But now the big question is, maybe am I the asshole, and is it really my fault for the company fell apart? No. Nope. Yep. Here, first comment. Yeah, you're in the clear. Cleric's player is clearly unhinged. I knew a player who tried a similar, this is not mind control argument for their character, and it went over like a lead balloon. Yep. And yeah, you have cleric has main character syndrome, and the DM is supporting it. So you have two bad actors. Yep, this is just dumb.